Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Backlash. We've got a big episode for you tonight. It's Wednesday, March 4th. I'm your host, David J. Riley. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Please, before we get started, make sure that you like this stream wherever you are. If you're on Rumble, if you're on X, if you're on YouTube, share it with your friends, with your family, and make sure that you're following us on all of our platforms. We're on X at Real Backlash. You can, of course, get all of our updates at thebacklash.net. You can sign up for our email announcements for when we have meetups or things like that. Oh, you can't see that because I'm blocking it, but thebacklash.net. You can support the show at subscribestar.com/thebacklash, patreon.com/thebacklash. You can also send in your super chats using powerchat.live or Entropy, or our crypto super chat thing. Nobody's been using that. We've got a new one in the works, one that will accept Lightning payments, Bitcoin Lightning. So that's at thebacklash.net/super chat. Of course, you can always send in your Rumble rants directly on Rumble at rumble.com/backlash podcast. Over on YouTube, we are Real Backlash over there. You can still, I think we're still monetized on YouTube. You can send super chats there. You can, of course, find all of our platforms at thebacklash.net/subscribe. We're on Rumble, Apple, YouTube, X, Instagram, TikTok, Primal. We are everywhere. We are everywhere all the time. So please make sure that you're following us. Please make sure that you like this stream. Got to give a brief shout out to our sponsors that make this show possible. First up is ODGG Supply. We're going to be talking about them a little bit later. But, you know, things are getting crazy. If you ever need tactical equipment, a bug-out bag, a tent, a blankie, you can get it at odggsupply.com. Above Time Coffee Roasters. They are amazing, pro-white, small batch, hand-roasted coffee at AboveTimeCoffee.com. Of course, our good friends at AntelopeHillPublishing.com. They're fighting to keep history alive. And they just brought back a couple of great books. A new book, Essay Cleans Up by Heinz Lohman. If you use promo code BACKLASH10, you will get 10% off your order with Antelope Hill. IdahoTallow.com. They make soap and skincare products and candles that don't have endocrine disruptors. And of course, atlasbullion.com/backlash. So thank you for patronizing all of our patrons. Thank you for sharing, liking this video, subscribing. Thank you for tuning in and spending some time with me on this Wednesday evening. Man, it's just crazy. You know, I've been sitting here for the past 30 minutes getting ready to go live. And, you know, there's a certain tone to be struck, I guess, with this thing. You know, I don't want to be too down. I don't want to be a bummer. I also don't really want to be happy. I'm not very happy about what's going on with the war in Iran, which we'll be talking about tonight. We are on, I think, day 4 or 5 of a brand new war in the Middle East that Donald Trump promised he was not going to get us involved in. Of course, if you've been watching this podcast for the year and a half now, almost, that we've been running, we've been predicting this since the beginning. And, well, we'll talk about it. So the war in Iran's a big deal. There's some issues in the banking sector as well that we're going to be talking about. ACH payments were frozen yesterday. I don't know if you saw that. I got a little update on my app and was surprised. And then what else? There's some more. I was featured on the Majority Report last night. So we've got some video from that we will go over with our friend Michael Edison Hayden. He's, of course, not our friend. He is a former Southern Poverty Law Center journalist that was dispatched here to North Idaho to do a hit piece on me. And so it's kind of funny to watch him struggle with it. So anyway, we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, man, this is crazy. The war in Iran. And this is obviously going to be the first story that we talk about tonight. You'll remember during every campaign that I can remember, well, listen, why take it from me? I can just show you. This was the shit. This was the slop. that the GOP was sharing in the run-up to the 2024 election. That Trump-Vance is the pro-peace ticket. Did you fall for it again? Where are the Fell For It Again awards? Do you need one of these? Do you need one of these? You might need one of these. I need one of these because I really thought that there was a possibility here that we weren't going to just get dragged into a bunch of foreign wars. I really thought that Donald Trump wanted to end the war in Ukraine. I was wrong. Some weren't. Nick Fuentes was right. He's always right. There were several others. But it's been crazy for me over the past few days because this all rolled out, of course, over the weekend. Over the weekend, we had a little get-together. We brought an excursion of people to a big black tie event where some local, like our state senator, Jim Risch, a couple people running for governor, they all spoke at this event. And as the event was unfolding, this war in Iran was also unfolding. And it's just, I'm just so beside myself because I remember in 2006 listening to my dad's radio show where he was talking about how the powers that be want to drag us into war with Iran. 2006. My dad was right. I asked him, I texted him earlier this week because I wanted to see if I could find some audio from his radio show that I could play for you just to prove this. Unfortunately, our archives are not that good. Maybe when we get it all transcribed, we can get AI to go through it and find some of these clips and pull them out. But this has been on the table for a long, long time. And it is likely going to completely reshape and change the entire world when this is all said and done. And so, with that being said, I don't want to be crazed or hysterical or angry. I don't want to spike my cortisol, as it were. And I don't really want to make you go crazy either. Because we're going to be talking about some serious shit tonight. Pardon my French. I'm going to work on swearing less. I was swearing a little bit too much last week. But the point is that we are in a moment here that is quite revolutionary, that is quite profound on the level of a French Revolution, on the level of a Bolshevik revolution, on the level of a Declaration of Independence type of thing. Because the world order that we've had has been set up the way that it has been for 70 years now, 50 years, and that's all about to change. It's all going to change, and it's either going to change because we defeat Iran or they will defeat us, or Israel will take the American empire out from under us. And this is all happening at the same time as this global financial reset. And so, long story short, now is not a good time to be hysterical. It is not a good time to be emotional. It's not a good time to lose your wits, especially if you have a family, you have children, a wife to take care of. When you get all amped up on the propaganda that's coming out, it can lead people to making incredibly bad decisions. And I don't want any of you to do that. So I'm just saying, disclaimer, I don't want anyone to get freaked out. I don't want anyone to be upset. Although this is a very upsetting thing and a very foreseeable thing, something that, like I said, we've been talking about for years. And now we're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of World War III and a global financial reset that we will, in 20 or 30 years, look back on this period of time as one of the craziest, most, I don't even know how to put it, one of the most impactful periods in our life, I think. And so anyway, I just want to be kind of sober about it. I don't want to gloat that, hey, we were right, and we were. But do you see what I mean? Because there's a lot of people out here on the internet, a lot of influencers, a lot of people with connections to the military, right? They came out of DC, they came out of the military industrial complex. They've got friends and family that are involved, and they're online. They're sharing their memes and analysis, and they have an agenda with it. They want to make you feel a certain way to get you to act in a certain way for their benefit. You've got other more cynical type grifters that just don't believe in anything. They just want clicks. They want to share slop. They want to just rile people up to skim the ad revenue off of whatever platform they may be on. And so I don't want to do that. What I'm interested in is helping build community, actually like IRL community here where we live in North Idaho. And I want to help give you guys the tools and the information that you need to be able to do that where you live. Because I think that a lot of this stuff, when you start looking at what's happening in the world, and neither of us can change what's going on in Iran right now. Nobody watching this show is able to affect any kind of change. It is what it is. They've taken the actions that they've taken. They clearly don't care about the polling. They don't care about the voters. They've told us as much. They've said, if you care about Epstein, then I don't want you to vote for me anymore. So what can we do? That's I think the important point. And so we'll get into that. We'll talk about that a little bit. But anyway, sorry for the goofy, weird disclaimer monologue. I don't know. But anyway, moving right along. The issue, that is the wrong link. So earlier this week, there was... did I lose it? I lost it already, of course. This is typical. Let me go to my bookmarks. Pentagon. Here it is. So this was a couple of days ago. This was 3 days ago. The Pentagon had informed Congress that there was no intelligence indicating that Iran intended to strike the United States first. So this was the intelligence that we had going into this, that Iran is not going to strike the United States. That's not what's going on. And here, this is earlier today, we have Donald Trump in a press briefing saying that Iran was 2 weeks away from getting a nuclear weapon, and that's why we needed to attack them, directly contradicting the intelligence coming from the Pentagon. Let's take a listen to this.
If we didn't hit within 2 weeks, they would have had a nuclear weapon. If we didn't do the B-2 attack a number of months ago, they would have a nuclear weapon. And when crazy people have nuclear weapons, bad things happen. So we're in very good shape now. I want to let you know that, and we will continue forward. But it's a great display of military strength, and I'm very proud to have, with some of the people in the room, both senators and congressmen, we rebuilt, and women.
And women. What the? Senators and representatives and women. What the? What are you doing, dude? So Pentagon says that there's nothing there. And then Trump comes out and says that. And furthermore, there were a lot of very contradictory things that had come out about how this particular round started. First, there was, do I have it here? What happened? Marco Rubio had come out and said that Israel was going to go ahead and attack, and that's why America attacked. So let's see that clip real quick. Here it is. I think it's a little long.
They are producing, by some estimates, over 100 of these missiles a month. Compare that to the 6 or 7 interceptors that can be built a month. They can build 100 of these a month, not to mention the thousands of one-way attack drones that they also have. They've been doing this for a very long time, and by the way, they've been doing it under sanction. You see the attacks they're conducting right now? They're attacking airports, they're attacking hotels, they're hitting not just military bases, they're attacking our embassies directly, they're attacking facilities that have nothing to do with war or with military, and that's a weakened Iran. That's in Iran despite years of sanction. Imagine a year from now, or a year and a half from now, the capabilities they would have to inflict damage on us. It's an unacceptable risk, especially in the hands of a regime that's run by radical clerics. The Ayatollah was a radical cleric. That entire regime is led by radical clerics who don't make geopolitical decisions. They make decisions on the basis of theology, their view of theology, which is an apocalyptic one. That has to be taken.
Yo, time out. You want to talk about making decisions based on theology? We're going to talk in a little bit about what Pete Hegseth and the generals have been talking and saying to the troops. But basically, this is all projection. This is all projection coming from Marco Rubio. We'll continue.
Very seriously as well. So that was the purpose for what this operation is all about. That's what it's focused on. As the President said earlier today, it is on or ahead of schedule. I will defer to the Department of War to discuss the progress being made at a tactical level, but it was the right decision and an important decision for the safety and security of the world. No.
And was there an imminent threat? Did you tell lawmakers that there was an imminent threat?
There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us. And we were not going to sit there and absorb a blow before we responded, because the Department of War assessed that if we did that, if we waited for them to hit us first after they were attacked, and by someone else, Israel attacked them, they hit us first, and we waited for them to hit us, we would suffer more casualties and more deaths. We went proactively in a defensive way to prevent them from inflicting higher damage. Had we not done so, there would have been hearings on Capitol Hill about how we knew that this was going to happen, and we didn't act preemptively to prevent more casualties and more loss of life.
So there you have it. That is, I think he spoke the truth. And a lot of different outlets reported on this. The Financial Times put out an article on it. And then, you've got the counter campaign. Oh, Marco Rubio didn't say that. What did he say? He said that Israel was going to attack Iran, and then Iran was going to strike the United States. So instead of restraining Israel, and instead of telling Israel, hey, how about you just shut up and don't bomb Iran? Instead of saying that, they're just like, okay, screw it. We're going to go all in. We're going to go to war with Iran. We're going to bomb them. We'll send in troops. That's what they're saying now. They have 50,000 troops earmarked to deploy to the Middle East. They've said there's all kinds of articles out now talking about how boots on the ground are not off the table. So another forever war. And speaking of forever wars, this is what Donald Trump tweeted or truthed or whatever, talking the other day about the stockpiles, the munitions stockpiles that we have, saying that we have a virtually unlimited supply of weapons and that wars can be fought forever and very successfully just using these supplies. So much for the forever wars, so much for the pro-peace ticket. That's not what this was. It never was. This was an Israeli operation from the beginning. MAGA was a psyop. And now we're at war with Iran. And we risk losing the empire. We risk losing our status in the world. We are already teetering on the edge of losing global reserve currency status. People are selling our U.S. treasuries and fleeing to other assets like gold and Bitcoin. And this was all totally foreseeable, totally avoidable, and totally Israel's fault. Now, after Marco Rubio came out and spoke the truth, Donald Trump had a press conference where he spun it the exact opposite way. He said, oh, no, this wasn't Israel. We forced Israel to act. So we'll take a listen to this.
Mr. President, did Israel force your hand to launch these strikes against Iran? Did Netanyahu pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready, and we've had a very, very powerful impact.
Now, of course, this is like the second time in a year where the United States was conducting diplomacy with a foreign country, and in the middle of negotiations, the United States and Israel attacked the country that they were negotiating with. How are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to negotiate with people and then you bomb them? Does that engender any level of credibility for us? No. So this whole thing was so avoidable. And there was this clip. I don't know if I tweeted it. I think I did. Let's take a look. I'm pretty sure I tweeted it. Maybe I didn't. I know where I can get it, though. This was on a video from James Corbett, from the Corbett Report. I don't know. Do you guys watch James Corbett? Do you even remember that he exists? He was one of my first red pills, man. This was way back in the day. But look at this clip. You want to talk about, the negotiations were falling apart and this and that. Here's the original clip from Donald Trump that we'll play here.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate.
No ability to negotiate. Of course, this was talking about Barack Obama at the time. Well, Don, you've demonstrated that you don't have an ability to negotiate because in the middle of negotiations, you're bombing them. That's not how we should be conducting diplomacy. I don't think that's how we should be conducting diplomacy. And now there are 6 dead soldiers because of this, and many more. I saw earlier today there was a report that the U.S. Army is hiring people to go through people's personal effects, deceased soldiers' personal effects, to send their stuff back to their families. Do you need to hire on and bring on new staff to do that if it's just 4 or 6 people? No. I think there's going to be a lot more that die. And I'm not happy about that. I'm sure you aren't either. So then we have all of these interviews that have been coming out. One of these is from Lindsey Graham. Let's take a look at this. Lindsey Graham came out, this was yesterday, and he was lobbying not only have we started this war with Iran that will go on for up to 8 weeks now, is what Pete Hegseth is saying, 8 weeks. But Lindsey Graham is also saying that we need to join Israel's strikes on Hezbollah in Lebanon. Let's take a listen to this.
One thing to President Trump, in case you're watching. In 1983, Ronald Reagan sent Marines and sailors to try to police and deal with the Lebanese civil war. They were at the end of the runway. Hezbollah attacked the Marine barracks, killed 220 Marines, 18 sailors, and wounded 100 others. Ronald Reagan, who I admire and love, withdrew and never did anything about it. So I'm calling on President Trump today. Join Israel to attack Hezbollah. Avenge the Marines. America never forgets. Those 220 Marines and 18 sailors' families, we want to go after the infrastructure that killed your loved ones. They're IRGC assets in Beirut as I speak. President Trump, come up with a new operation called Simplify. Fly with Israel and go after Hezbollah, who has American blood on its hands. Not only take the mothership of Iran down, also take the proxy of Hezbollah, settle the score, even the account.
Bro, this guy is a closeted homo, by the way, in case you're not aware. I put out a tweet a couple days ago on this. I said, I'm trying really hard not to Fed post, but I think that most of the people in our government should be tried for treason and shot by firing squad. Legally, due process, yada, 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 whatever. But this guy has taken so much money from Israel. He has got binders full of blackmail. And he doesn't give a shit about America, about your kids, about the people that are in the military. Doesn't care. If we listened to Lindsey Graham, we would have hundreds of thousands of dead troops. And this is one of Trump's confidants. This is one of the guys calling the shots in D.C. It's just unbelievable. Then we had some other interviews that were just unbelievable. So, you know, not to get into the whole like libertarian nonsense, you know, the Constitution. Like, yeah, I get it. You know, we are supposed to declare war. Congress is supposed to declare war, and then the executive branch is supposed to like act on that, right? That's how this is supposed to work. But that's not how any of these wars have worked since World War II. I don't think we've declared war once. I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Operation Iraqi Freedom and Timber Sycamore and all of these incursions in the Middle East, Korea, Vietnam, we never declared war for any of that. And so now you've got this guy. I forget which senator is this. It doesn't have it on the Chiron. Just absolute doofus that was at the Capitol in a meeting. Take a listen. This is how our elected representatives are handling this.
Are there measures being taken not to eliminate other possible alternatives to leadership?
This is war, and we're taking out the threat. And if you're part of the threat, then you're a target. You know what we'd call not all the arrows, but going after the archers.
You'll concede this is war. You'll concede this is war.
We haven't declared war. They declared war on us, but we haven't.
War. Secretary Hicks said
we haven't declared.
Just now, you said this is war.
They've called it war.
They've called it war. What I was saying. Okay, well that was a misspoke. What I was saying that they've declared war on us, but war is ugly. It always has been ugly. But we're taking out a regime that's been trying to attack us for quite some time.
But you're not conceding this is war.
We have declared war. So if we haven't declared war, then I don't see that. The president hasn't asked us to declare war yet, but they have declared war on us. We're just simply fighting the threat that's been at our door for 47 years.
The threat that's been at our door for 47 years. So like, timeout, brief timeout. Bro, my cortisol. I was like, I'm not going to get all hyped up. I'm not going to start yelling. I'm not going to be angry. I'm going to be like happy. And Bro, we're the ones that put the Ayatollah in. We're the ones that put the Ayatollah in 1979 with the help of the CIA and the Mossad back then. We're the ones that overthrew Mohammad Mossadegh to get the Shah of Iran back in. And then when the Shah wasn't working out, we overthrew him with the Ayatollahs. And now we've got these doofuses on TV saying, oh, well, this is like an imminent threat. It's been a threat for 47 years. They declared war on us. What planet do these people live on? Because it's just amazing. It's amazing. The Ayatollah, all of them, maybe not the new one, and there is a new one. We'll talk about that in a second. But the Ayatollah has explicitly condemned the idea of getting a nuclear weapon. Explicitly condemned that idea. They said, we're not going to do that. We're not going to, they issued a fatwa or whatever, a total prohibition on nuclear weapons. And I tweeted this out a couple of days ago. Where is it? Didn't I tweet it? Am I like imagining that I'm tweeting things and then I'm actually not? I might have. But it was just like, there was this meme of the Ayatollah, and it's just like, a woman is a beautiful flower. And it's like, build the frickin' nukes, dude. What are you doing? I did tweet out the Kim Jong-un thing where I was just like, where this was a couple days ago. I said, the lesson in all of this is build the freaking nukes. So the idea that Iran is some sort of existential threat to the United States, that's not true. None of this has been true. It is true that China is an existential threat to the United States because we've ceded all of our manufacturing to them. And Iran supplies China with oil. And so by attacking Iran, we do, in a way, weaken China. But it's not worth all of this. It's not worth 6 dead soldiers. It's like this could have been done diplomatically. We did not have to go and start like murdering babies. Like this is the Ayatollah's granddaughter who got blown up. There was another thing that happened. There was like a bunch of schoolgirls that got bombed by Iran or by Israel. Did you see this? Schoolgirls bombed by Iran. Yes, here it is. There was a double tap massacre at an Iranian girls' school with 165 girls aged 7 to 12. So anyway, you get the idea. This is a school that the United States and Israel bombed. And we don't know whose munition actually did this yet. There are questions about it. I think Carolyn Levitt was asked about this. Let's take a look at I haven't reviewed this clip, but this is from Drop Site News.
Did the United States airstrike a girls' elementary school and kill 175 people?
Not that we know of, Sean, and the Department of War is investigating this matter, and I would just tell you very strongly, the United States of America does not target civilians, unlike the rogue Iranian regime that targets civilians, that kills children, that has killed thousands of their own people in the past several weeks, and uses propaganda quite effectively, and unfortunately, many people in this room have fallen for that propaganda. So I would...
Dude, and this type of rhetoric is the most infuriating. The Iranian regime, they've like killed their own people. They've killed thousands of their own people, protesters, dissidents, people that were upset with the Iranian regime. They're killers. They're killers. We've got to go after them. We've got to do this to protect global democracy or whatever. And it's like, have you looked in the frickin' mirror? What did the United States do at Waco? We burned like 70 women and children to death. Ruby Ridge, Whidbey Island, Oklahoma City, 9/11, which was not only an inside job, but done with the collaboration of the Israeli intelligence services. And then we're going to sit there and point the finger at Iran, that they're monsters. What about the COVID vaccines? How many people died because our government mandated it? How many people died alone in their apartments, sequestered from their families because of the lockdowns? What about the people that have died at all of these riots, the George Floyd riots? Come on, man. Don't give me this nonsense about how Iran kills their own people. No, dude. We are guilty of the exact same thing. It is not a justification for war. It's not a justification for murdering 165 little girls. And, it strikes me because it's like, I'm a pretty pro-life guy. I'm Catholic. I believe life starts at conception. Don't believe the sins of the father should be visited on the son. And these so-called pro-life evangelicals are gleeful, joyous that these kids are being slaughtered in Iran. From the Ayatollah's granddaughter to the 165 schoolgirls in Minab. It's just unbelievable. And then to continue with this idea of projection, because when you see all of these press conferences and they're talking about how Iran is so bad and all of this nonsense, talking about how the mullahs are psychotic, theocratic dictators that have a crazy religious cult worldview, right? That's what we're told about the Iranians. And as we're being told that about the Iranians, this is what our leaders are telling our troops. This is from the Daily Mail. Donald Trump's commanders tell troops to prepare for Jesus' return, and they issued a chilling Armageddon prophecy. Getting into the article here. Donald Trump's commanders have been accused of telling troops that the war with Iran is part of God's plan for Armageddon. The Military Religious Freedom Foundation, a nonprofit civil rights watchdog, has said it has received 110 complaints, not 109 complaints, from troops since the war broke out on Saturday. The complaints span more than 40 different units across 30 military sites that a commander claimed Trump was anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark Jesus' return to earth. That this war is a part of God's divine plan, specifically referencing citations out of the book of Revelation, referring to Armageddon and the imminent return of Jesus Christ. The rapture. So this is what the United States is doing, okay? The United States has a bunch of crazed, bought and paid for Israeli assets working in the military that are running military counterintelligence, a narrative, a Christian Zionist narrative, that this war will bring about the return of Jesus Christ and the rapture of the church. And then we have the audacity to point our finger and claim that the Iranian mullahs are psycho, irrational, crazed, theocratic dictators. The levels of projection are really unbelievable. There's another tweet here from the Clash report. U.S. commanders across over 30 military bases told troops that the Iran war was part of God's plan, linking it to Armageddon, saying that the war is biblically sanctioned and a sign of the Christian end times. Look at that. Remember this one? This is the crazy Paula White, the psycho woman that speaks in tongues and thinks that all the ground that she walks on is sacred. This is what we're dealing with. America is being run by a Jewish death cult. This is reality. Look at these headlines. U.S. commanders tell troops that Trump is anointed by Jesus to start Iran war. Netanyahu on the Iran war says, quote, "We read in this week's Torah portion, remember what Amalek did to you. We remember and we act." Right? So they're comparing the Iranians now to Amalek. Israel's financial minister can barely contain himself. They launched the war on Iran on Purim, the Jewish holiday celebrating the ancient defeat of Persia. You can't escape the historical associations, he says. We are an ancient people with the ability to look back. This is just unbelievable. We're run by a Jewish death cult. And Christian Zionism is Jewish. By the way, it's like not Christian. It is not a Christian ideology. It is a Jewish ideology laid on top of Christianity, leveraging Christianity, taking advantage of the Goyim to do shit like this. It's sickening. And there's more that we're going to get into on the Christian Zionism stuff here in a little bit. But just unbelievable. Yeah, and here was another, this was Gavin Newsom. Even, look, listen to that. What planet do we live on where, like, Gavin Newsom makes a good point? Like, I'm not a fan of Gavin Newsom, okay? Know a lot of Californians that moved to Idaho that hate Gavin Newsom. Not endorsing this guy at all. But man, if the Republicans don't figure out a way to get rid of Trump and to stop all of this, the Democrats are going to march right into D.C. this year. And they're going to win in 2028 because of these crazy Christian Zionists. This is what Gavin Newsom said.
We have to reconcile why our bombs were used, or Israeli bombs were used, to kill children, young girls at a school, and what the imminent threat was. It hasn't been described.
Like, newsflash, that will get Gavin Newsom directly into the White House in 2028. That is like a get out of jail free card, pass go, collect $1 million, go straight to the White House. That's just FYI. That's where we're at. The kids are not having this. I mean, for my entire life, we've been at war in the Middle East. I was born in 89. We did Operation Desert Storm or whatever it was, Operation Iraqi Freedom in 1991. Ever since I can remember, we've been at war in the Middle East for Israel. And it's even crazier for these young kids, for the Zoomers. They're not having it. This is not salvageable for the GOP, by the way. Just saying. And it's going to get crazy. It's going to get crazy here in the States because of this. So, you know, there's still a lot of fog of war going on. There's a lot of fake AI videos that are being shared. I'm trying to be careful here with what I share with you, because I don't want to like share some bullshit story or some AI slop or anything like that. But it's not good. There's going to be a lot of people that die. Look at this. This was an old tweet. This was an old clip from 2024, Donald Trump campaign event. just as a reminder for how we got here. This is how this piece of shit got in the White House. This is how he got in the White House. This is what he said.
I will tell you, you're not going to have a war with me, and you're not going to have a third world war with me. That I can tell you.
That was a lie. That was a lie. You're not going to have war with me. You're not going to have World War III with me. Well, here we are. It's day 5 of World War III, thanks to Donald Trump and his inability to engage diplomatically, his inability to negotiate, because he has given all of his power to Israel, because he is Bibi Netanyahu's bitch. And this is why it is more important than ever to be involved at the local level. Why it's more important than ever to have a strong family, to have a strong church, to have a strong network of other people. And so we'll talk a little bit about that coming up. But this is a critical moment to connect with other people that see reality, that aren't being gaslit. Because this whole thing, this whole X.com, the media, the free press, CBS News, I saw there was an article from the Free Press today, Barry Weiss's outlet, that says, oh, this isn't Israel's war, it's America's war. The gaslighting has been turned up to 11. They want you to second guess yourself. They want you to, it's like 1984. Like, we've always been at war with Oceania. What are you talking about? Are you second guessing the party? That's what's going on. This is like, we are reaching COVID levels of gaslighting about all of this. And it's going to blow up in Trump's face. Thank God it will. But from how we get from here to there, that's the issue. And so one of the other things that's going on that's not really, did you see this? Look at this. This video came out. The anime AI stuff is very good. Have you seen that?
Must attack Iran. Iran threatens America. Wait, we destroyed Iran's nuclear sites. How is Iran still a threat to America? Ayatollah, dictator, oppressing civilians. Okay, but why is that America's problem? Why do we care what's happening inside Iran? Radical Islam spreading. America threatened. What? We need to focus on our own hemisphere. Israel, America's friend. America needs Israel.
Bro, that is like so true. That's like what's actually happening. It's so messed up that that's what's happening. But that is what's happening. There's a couple of things here that I was going to get to. Oh, I just closed it. Dang it. This was, the IDF put out a whole video. And I put out a tweet. You can go check my timeline. I talked about how, this was like a couple weeks ago. Trump said Iran has 10 days. I did the math. And I'm like, you know what? 10 days is Purim. And now we've got the Defense Ministry of Israel putting out propaganda videos here about Purim. The story of surviving in the face of an enemy that seeks your destruction. Sound familiar, right? So they're playing into all of this religious nonsense as well. Couple of other considerations here that I wanted to bring up. This comes from Sagar Enjeti, who needs to be deported. I love his stuff, but you got to go. It'll be fine. We'll find a nice place in Bangladesh. Said in the 12-day war that the U.S. fired 150 THAAD interceptors to protect Israel. That was 25% of the entire global stockpile. In the last 48 hours, we have fired an untold number, along with several other systems. In 2025, the U.S. acquired exactly 12 new THAAD interceptors. So if this war does go for longer than 12 days, then we're going to be depleted. You know, all of this talk, oh, our military stockpiles are great. Not the important stuff, not the THAAD missiles. And then we're wide open. China, Russia could attack. They're not going to attack us. China and Russia are not going to attack us. They're like, honestly, like not the threat. Like the number one threat to world peace is Israel. It's not China or Russia. China is a rival. Like there are issues between us and China, but not like the issues between us and Israel, man. Unbelievable. You know, there are also a lot of other considerations that should be made about this whole thing. One of them being Iran's new Ayatollah, right? So we've got, X.com sucks. Iran's new supreme leader. So we got Ayatollah Khamenei's son is the new supreme leader. Mojtaba Khamenei, right? This is the new guy. It's his son. And from what I understand, he has been running things in Iran for the past several years. It's been him making the appointments to the IRGC. It has been Mojtaba Khamenei that has been in operational control of the government. And so killing the old one, the old Ayatollah, doesn't really change anything. If anything, the old Ayatollah was a moderate. They're like killing the moderate. I was talking with a buddy of mine a couple days ago, and it's like, you know, this guy Masoud Pezeshkian, the president of Iran, he's like a liberal. He's a libtard. He's like a global democracy type of guy, you know? And it seems like both the Israelis and the Americans are carrying out strikes that are killing all of the liberals. They're like killing all of the moderate voices in Iran. What do you think we're going to be left with? We're going to be left with hardline, extremist, conservative, whatever their version of conservative, right-wing, nationalist, patriotic. They love their country, and they're going to bomb the shit out of Israel, the United States, United Arab Emirates, Oman. I mean, we talked a little bit on the Monday show. I put up a map showing all of the strikes that have been made by Monday. And it's not going to work out well for the U.S. You know, we had a shot. You know, take this all with a grain of salt here. I'm talking as an American on behalf of America. I obviously am against all of this. But there's like a 48-hour window in bombing Iran where you take out the leadership, and if that is coupled with a civil uprising for regime change, a coup, a new regime taking over, you have like a 48-hour window where something like that's possible. That did not happen. Not only did it not happen, but there were meticulous plans for succession in Iran, for who was going to take over. And essentially, nothing of what has been done has interrupted that. Our strikes have not prevented Ayatollah Khamenei's son from becoming the new supreme leader. The IRGC is still operational. They're still launching bombs and getting a lot of hits in Tel Aviv, Haifa, Israel, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Dubai. They're getting a lot of hits. And things are getting more difficult for the United States as well because the platforms from which they are shooting the missiles, they're using concealed trucks, like semi-trucks, like a 16-wheeler or whatever, that it looks like a commercial vehicle, but it's got a hypersonic missile hidden in the back. And it pops up, shoots, and then the truck drives away. So they can fire these missiles from like literally anywhere They're not just at these missile silos or missile bases. So, like, I think that the United States is obviously relying on very bad intel, that they're weak. They're not weak. I don't think they're weak. And not only that, but again, and we talked about this on the program a couple of months ago. Go back and watch it. But as the United States attacks Iran, that causes all of the people in Iran to come together in solidarity with one another, in solidarity with their government that is being attacked by Israel and the United States, which is counterproductive for creating the on-the-ground conditions necessary for regime change. So it's not going to happen. There is going to be no regime change. And we've got a tweet here running down some of this stuff from History Speaks over on X. The CIA now assesses that regime change is extremely unlikely because after Khamenei was killed, there were 0 defections and no change in state policy. The window for coups is extremely short, and this one did not get off the ground. The popular base of the regime, which is like 20 or 30% of Iranians, diaspora monarchists, which are just a fringe, by the way, after being demoralized by the hideous massacres the IRI carried out against protesters in January, they're now remoralized and galvanized by the killing of Khamenei and the broader war of aggression waged against Iran, hence the huge pro-regime protests that we're seeing. And there have been a lot of them. These videos are not making their way onto X. They're suppressed algorithmically. The videos that are coming out of Iran are showing millions of people in downtown Iran flooding the streets, mourning the death of the supreme leader. They are not going to overthrow their government. And furthermore, all of the leadership that has been killed is the leadership that has attempted negotiation. So, if there's anyone out there that can get a message to Iran, let them know. Stop negotiating. Bomb the shit out of your enemies. And I say that as a freedom-loving American. Not bought by anyone, not paid by any government. We have run roughshod over that country and every country. You know, you want to talk about democracy and populism and the will of the people and all of this bullshit. My God. Anyway, there's a lot of interesting stuff over here on this tweet. Go check out was it History Speaks on Twitter. But basically, the window is closed. The window for regime change is closed. That is not going to be happening. That's just not going to be happening. And so to kind of plug this in with some stuff going on at home, let me pull up a couple of things. Thank you for tuning in tonight, by the way. By the way, if you haven't already, like this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends, retweet it, send it to your friends and family. I'm working on swearing less so the church ladies won't be upset. I will continue to do better and better. So this happened in the United States as all of this is unfolding with Iran, Israel, the Middle East, the war. Okay. This was yesterday. The Federal Reserve is experiencing a service disruption delaying ACH payments across the entire U.S. banking system. So, and this is happening. I talked with our sponsor, Kenzie, from Atlas Bullion, and she said that this is, that explains a lot, actually. And I got a tweet or a text message from a friend of mine. They had sent me a screenshot of their Capital One account saying that the Federal Reserve is now experiencing issues with certain transactions. We are closely monitoring the situation. I thought if it didn't come from like my literal best childhood friend, I would have thought that was fake. But it was real. I said, how awesome would it be if the U.S. economy collapsed at exactly the same time this unjust war with Iran is getting started? But hey, listen, it's true. There's something happening in the financial system at home while all of this foreign war nonsense is going on. And now, 24 hours later, we get word that Bitcoin exchange Kraken has become the first crypto bank to receive a Federal Reserve master account. This makes Kraken the first digital asset bank in U.S. history to gain direct access to the Federal Reserve's payment infrastructure. There's also been a lot of reporting going on about how it is possible that there will be cyber attacks on the U.S. economy. So once again, I want to do the disclaimer thing. It is not a good idea to be emotional or to make rash decisions. This is not the end of the world. It might be. Actually, it might be. But it's not a good idea to behave as though it is, okay? So there is some serious stress on the financial system in this country. And it's going to get worse as the war with Iran continues. So, with that being said, it would be a very good idea to do some calculations. How much money does it cost to live with your family for a month? Maybe 2 months. How much are groceries, car payments, gasoline, your electric bill and all that? How much does it cost to live for 1 to 2 months? Figure that number out and go to the bank and put some cash under your bed. I think that's a good idea. I don't think that's crazy. You won't be earning 1% interest on like $2,000, $3,000. Okay. But in the event that something happens, you'll have cash, and that's necessary. You need to be thinking about that. It's also a good time to stock up on lead. It's a very good time to buy some lead, because as the military contemplates this idea of putting boots on the ground, God forbid, if we get into an on-the-ground shooting war with these people, having some 5.56 laying around ain't a bad investment. God knows what can happen. So those are two interesting things. Something else I'm going to mention, and you're going to kill me. I know you're going to kill me, but once you have done your calculations and figured out how much money buffer you need to live for the next couple of months, it's not a bad time to think about making an investment into gold or silver. And you can do that with our friends at atlasbullion.com/backlash. Gold is currently sitting at $5,180 an ounce. Silver is at $84.80 an ounce. And this war is going to cost a lot of money. And that money is going to come from the Federal Reserve, which is going to print it, which is going to cause inflation, which is going to make everything more expensive, and it's going to make your dollar less valuable. So if you're saving all of your money in dollars, they will be worth less in 5 months than they are worth now. Not financial advice, do your own research, et cetera, et cetera. But it's not a bad time to start stacking precious metals the easy way at atlasbullion.com/backlash. They've got gold and silver subscriptions from as low as $55 a month for silver, $200 a month for gold. And this is not going away, because everything that we've been talking about for months and months and months, Japan, the yen carry trade is blowing up, the Japanese economy is blowing up, there's instability with Taiwan, there's $9 trillion in debt that needs to be rolled over this year. The U.S. debt clock, by the way, have you checked the U.S. debt clock recently? I tweeted about this debt clock, usdebtclock.org. I tweeted about this. I was like, we're $37 trillion in debt. And somebody replied to me and was like, we're not 37 trillion in debt. We're 39 trillion in debt. And I was like, holy shit, you're correct. You're actually right. We are at 38 trillion, 842 billion, 481 million, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. I mean, this is incredible how this is going. And you're going to see a slew of articles coming out over the next several days. The Pentagon is requesting another $50 billion, another $100 billion. We need more missiles. We need more weapons. Because the economy is about to collapse, And so what happens when economies are about to collapse? People go to war. So it's all very predictable. But I'm just saying, think about go to Atlas Bullion, get some gold and silver. And, here's the other thing. Imagine a situation where we do get hacked. Do you remember a couple of months ago, Spain? In Spain, all of the ATMs stopped working. All of the financial infrastructure collapsed overnight. There were lines of people waiting to access their funds at the bank and no help in sight, rolling blackouts. It was crazy. And we are similarly in a situation like that. Things could get very crazy. And it's not hard to imagine how. If there is some sort of cyber attack on this country, on our country, that either is affecting critical infrastructure or the financial system, it would not take very long, especially in this climate. I mean, it was literally just a month ago that we saw hundreds of thousands of people in uprisings in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. That is going to spread, especially as this war continues. There is going to be a counter-protest movement, and that movement, which is going to be primarily taken up by leftists, occupied by leftists, they're going to be violent. And if you're living in a city, you need to be prepared. So please go visit odggsupply.com. They've got tactical equipment that could come in handy. They've got these amazing little targets. You could do some target practice. They've got, what the hell is this? A medical urine bottle. So if you need to piss in a jar, they've got piss jars. They're going to drop me as a sponsor. They've got blankies, they've got backpacks, they've got all kinds of tactical gear. They've got body armor. They've got tents. They've got everything that you need in a pinch. And if you live in a city, like I live here in North Idaho, right? Everybody's carrying all the time. It's, truck country. It's redneck country. I love it. I'm not that worried here. But if I lived in Seattle, LA, Portland, Philadelphia, New York City, and I had a car, I would want to have some sort of a go bag. MREs, blankets, shelters, rucksack with all of your equipment for self-defense. Because what happens if there's an anti-war protest in New York and these leftists block, I-80 or whatever it is, you're unable to get home in your car, your wife and kids are there, Antifa's rioting in the streets. You see what I'm saying? This is very quickly the direction that we are accelerating in. So if you use promo code Backlash14, you will get 14% off your order at ODGG Supply at checkout. If there is anything that you have been thinking about getting to be more prepared, whether it's gold or silver or tactical equipment from ODGG Supply, now is the time to do it. Not to be hysterical, not to be crazed. It is a very good time to be prepared because this can go sideways so quickly for our country. You got to be ready for anything. Okay, moving on from the shilling You know, as all of this is unfolding in the States, on the world stage, there's still, you know, here's something else that I forgot. I'm just going through, I'm clearing out my tweets. Sorry for shifting gears on you. Did you see this video? This video, Montana Congressman Tim Sheehy. So earlier today there were hearings in Congress about the war with Iran, okay? And a U.S. Marine showed up to protest. He showed up to protest, and he said that we don't want to go to war for Israel. And what happened, this is what happened next. I'll show you the video. It's brutal. Look away if you got kids. This guy is protesting, and Tim Sheehy breaks his arm for saying that we don't want to go to war for Israel. Look at this video. This is crazy.
Out! No one wants to fight for Israel!
His hand!
Jeez.
His hand!
Did you hear that? That was his hand breaking. It was his forearm breaking.
Let go of your hand. Let go of the door. Let go of the door. Can you let
Look at this.
broke his hand. A sitting U.S. Senator just broke the hand of a Marine.
This is crazy. This is crazy. These are the people that put their lives on the line for the country, and you got Senator Tim Sheehy from Montana breaking his arm. I know that he's a leftist. I know that he's working with Code Pink and all of the pro-Palestine people, but really? Do you know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars Tim Sheehy has been given by AIPAC? And then it's like you get a guy that put his life on the line for this country, who came down to D.C. to make his voice heard, and they break his arm. Bro. I'm not going to Fed post. I'm not going to spike my cortisol. We're going to be cool. This is okay. This is normal, right? This is normal. It's normal for your country to just unilaterally start bombing children. It's normal for your country to take people in the military and just break their arms, kick them out of meetings, ignore what the people want. You know, that's normal. It's normal for your country to be run by people that are literally in bed with pedophiles like Jeffrey Epstein. It's normal, right? Don't want to be hyperbolic or irrational, because, you know, when you look at all the people that are detractors, my detractors, they like to paint me as like a crazed psycho person, emotional, unable to control myself. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, couple things. Geez, the show is going a little bit longer than I thought that it would. I was like, I'm going to do a short show tonight. It'll just be like an hour. Sorry. I got a lot to say, I guess. Okay, so don't get emotional. Don't freak out. But do use this moment to organize. And so what do I mean by that? I mean, like, going out and protesting a war in Iran, going to some anti-war protest, right? It might make you feel good. And it might even be a good thing to do. It might be a good thing for you to organize. I think that might be a swell idea, actually. But for the right reasons, if you follow. Doing a protest in Coeur d'Alene or Post Falls or South Dakota, Pennsylvania, you do an anti-war protest. That is not going to change what happens. But what it can do is provide an opportunity for you to meet like-minded friends and neighbors who also see the world the way that you do, and to build a community with them, and to grow with them, and to build infrastructure with them that over the next decade or 20 years can be used to prevent these psychos from being in our government anymore. We are ruled by a Jewish death cult, Christian Zionist death cult, psychopaths, and it is not going to go away overnight. We need to organize to do this. And one way you could do that is by organizing an anti-war protest. But not because the protest itself is going to do anything to stop the war, but because the protest will help you find other people in your area. That's something that has happened to us on the right, especially over the last decade since Charlottesville. We've been atomized. We have been convinced and gaslit by the government that they're coming after us and that any kind of white people organizing for their own self-interest, this is bad, you're going to go to jail for that. And I think a lot of that's paranoia. And I think that a lot of us have been kind of living up in the hills, watching YouTube, watching Rumble, on X, and we've been isolated from one another in the real world. And we need to fight that. We need to fight back against that. We cannot rely solely on technology for this movement, whatever it is. I don't really think there is a movement. You know, if there is a movement, it's going to be the anti-war movement, the America First movement, right? The MAGA movement, which we discussed, was a psyop. That was an Israeli psyop. So anyway, just a thought there. Man, that reminded me there was something else. Did I have it in the show notes? Hold on a second. Let me read for a minute. Yes, and that reminds me. Local politics, things locally. What can you do to have an effect, right? Protesting the war, that's not going to end the war. It might introduce you to some new friends. That could be good. Another thing that's worth protesting in this country, in America, is the surveillance state. It is all of the cameras that we've been seeing getting put up on the intersections. I know I go from my house to Walmart, which I don't really go to Walmart, but just for the sake of Safeway, right? Safeway's down the street. So for me to drive to Safeway, I have to pass by 4 traffic cameras that will videotape or photograph my car, my license plate as I'm driving on the road. Well, turns out that those traffic cameras that we're installing all over the United States, they had those in Iran too. And it was the traffic cameras that Israel hacked that allowed them to kill the Ayatollah Khamenei. This article comes from The Sun. Traffic fight. Israel hacked Iran's traffic cams for years so that Mossad knew Tehran like we knew Jerusalem before the Ayatollah was assassinated. The article goes on to describe how the Mossad was using these traffic cameras to spy on the supreme leader, on his security detail, to figure out how they drive, what their daily routine is like. And they used the technology, weaponized it against the Iranians, and then bombed them. And I'm just saying, you know, if you want to take concrete actions, if you want something to do, if you want to be like using your brain and not getting led around by the algorithm, by your nose, something that's really worth getting involved in is the fight against smart cities. Amazon Ring doorbells on every house. Honestly, Tesla cars with cameras, 16 cameras all around the cars, traffic cams, license plate readers. All of this stuff is a security threat to the American people. Because who's saying that, you know, Who's to say that Israel isn't going to hack into our traffic cameras and use that information to assassinate Americans? We are the eighth front of their war, aren't we? So that's just a thought, like I saw this article come out from The Sun and it was just, like, hey, here is like a very obvious thing that we should be like actively organizing against. There was a group, let me see if they're still up here. Stop Smart Cities. They should give me money for this. They should give me some money. Yeah, here it is. There is a group called StopSmartCities.com that has a bunch of informations. How smart cities will lock up humanity inside an open-air concentration camp. I don't know, kind of like Gaza? Does that sound like Gaza? Kind of sounds like Gaza to me. So anyway, I'm like not getting paid by these people. I wish I was. That would be fantastic. But this is something that you can get involved with at your local county commissioner meetings, your local planning and zoning, police hearings, city council, your legislature. Make this shit illegal. These cameras on every street corner, they are not making us safer. And furthermore, you want to talk about making us safer? We've got this administration saying that we're unable to deport illegal aliens, but somehow we are able to go like bomb a girls' school, kill the supreme leader of Iran, assassinate the hierarchy of the IRGC. We can go 5,000 miles away with aircraft carriers, destroyers, and bombers, and B-2s, and all. We can fuck their day up. We can spend billions of dollars going to war on behalf of Israel, but you know what? Figuring out deportations, that's just a little too much. That's something extra. We can't figure it out. We can't do it. Can't do it. It's just not feasible. This is where we're at in this country. And so speaking of the immigration fight, there was a couple of interesting tweets that had come out. Here in Idaho, while everybody is hopping up and down about the war with Iran, there's a lot of legislation that's going through. And there was House Bill 700 and 704 that were introduced in the legislature this past week that would have been very good, that appear to be getting held up. Let's take a look at this. This was 700, which would have penalized employers for employing illegal aliens. Well, that bill basically got disappeared, I believe by Kelly Anthon, got sent to Jim Guthrie's committee, and it's going to die. House Bill 704 was Real E-Verify. This was to, again, prevent unauthorized workers from working in the state of Idaho. That also got thrown in the drawer, it appears. And there was another one, which was House Bill 764, which would have made it illegal to, like, I don't know, materially support an illegal alien in the state of Idaho. So, like, if you're, like, driving them around or giving them money or giving them legal advice, that would have been made illegal. And so we've got a little video here from our friend Rogaloo18. I don't know if we're going to visit or watch all of this, but it is super interesting. Let's take a quick look at what was going on. While everybody was worried about Iran, there were good people in Idaho focused on the illegal immigration problem. Let's see what happened in this committee.
This bill would directly impede our religious freedom, every single one of us. Care for migrants, regardless of legal status, is explicitly required in the Catholic tradition.
Boo.
This includes aiding. This includes providing shelter. This includes feeding and, in the modern Catholic Church, providing legal assistance at times.
Okay, so hold on a second. Time out. It's a part of your religious liberty to be able to aid migrants. Okay, sure, fine. I'll just take that at face value. As a Catholic, I'll take that at face value. Guess what? I'm Catholic and I'm a migrant. I moved to Idaho 6 years ago because I lived in a liberal hellhole in Indiana and I needed to get out. And there are hundreds, thousands of people that live in Idaho now, in North Idaho, in Boise, Meridian, Eagle, Nampa, people that lived in California that were under COVID and all of the nonsense, the liberal craziness in California, and they are essentially refugees. They're citizens of this country, and they came to Idaho as political refugees that were fleeing persecution in places like California, Oregon, Washington, for me, Indiana, and elsewhere. How about you care for those migrants, asshole? How about you care for the Catholic U.S. citizens that are being internally displaced in this country because they're being driven out of their home by illegal aliens? Is that in your theology, Mr. Dr. Anthony Paz, the theology teacher from Bishop Kelly High School? No. No, he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care about white people. He doesn't care about Americans. This guy should frankly be fired. Email Bishop Kelly High School and fire this guy. Let's keep watching. What else do we have?
This is mandated by Catholic teaching.
And our concern with this is that that is a very difficult standard to apply, and it isn't limited to just, we've heard from an immigration lawyer, it's not limited just to immigration, though. It's limited to providing legal assistance is the term. So that would mean, I think a fair reading of this would mean that no divorces, no contracts. If someone gets injured in an auto accident, that anybody, and it wouldn't only be the attorney, because of the broad definition of organizations, my partner could possibly be charged under this.
Just something that kind of seems a little bit at odds, as you were mentioning, that the fiscal policy wouldn't be correct. So apparently, the people about whom you're speaking have money to hire a private attorney, but yet they need the food assistance and assistance from all of the entities that provide to those who don't have money. It seems a little bit disconnected there. Do you mind helping us explain why there'd be a fiscal note?
Mr. Chairman, Representative, the people that we're talking about are not all cut from the same piece of cloth. There are poor people who are here illegally, no doubt about it, and the charities help those people. There are people who have been here illegally for 30 years, who have children, who have built a business, who have good jobs, who have saved their money and bought a home. Now, all those people can afford to hire counsel for themselves, and they do. I can tell you from 40 years of criminal law practice.
The bill currently reads the same as last year, making it a crime for my organization to explain to a victim or witness the legal process, their rights as a victim, or even recommend they talk to a prosecutor or their own lawyer. The bill's broad language creates this unintended consequences. In addition to my patrol deputies, I worry a jail deputy who explains legal processes every day to an unlawfully present person in custody could be in violation of this bill.
So anyway, it goes on. I'm not going to... What's going on? There's something happening with my camera, and I don't understand what it is. I apologize. I guess we're going to have to, close the show out like this. I don't know what happened here. Something happened. And it's not good. Let me, maybe I can mess with this. Oh no, that's not good. Hold on a second. No, that's not it. Hold on a second. Dave Guest. Dave Main. Okay, there we go. Hold on. We will get this figured out. One moment. Brief pause. Okay, there we go. Okay, I think this works now. Sorry about that. I think that this is all still frozen. Oh no, we're back. We're working now. Okay, good-ish. There we go. So anyway, where was I? Sorry, I had some technical difficulties over here. Anyway, the point is there were a bunch of bills to combat illegal immigration in this state. And it's like, you know, we need to not lose focus, right? And prioritize the things that we can actually handle. One of those things being looking at our own backyards in our own states and taking care of things like illegal immigration, making E-Verify a thing, penalizing employers that hire illegals, penalizing Catholic charities, which relocates migrants, right? If we're all just jumping up and down talking about what's going on in Iran, who's watching this stuff? Who's looking after the home front? We've got issues. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. And, you know, there was a tweet that I saw, it's just from Martin Sellner. You know, just, again, thinking about where we are, what time it is in this nation. If 4% of a population actively join an organized nonviolent campaign, it has an 80% chance of succeeding. Well, something like 80% of Idahoans want immigration restriction. They want a revamp of what's been going on in this country. This comes from an account called Secure Idaho. 80% of Idahoans want something to be done about the illegal aliens. So, you know, are you online bitching about Iran? Are you complaining about what's going on there? To the detriment of focusing on things in your area, in your local area that are under your control, things that you can actually have a positive impact on. Don't lose sight of that. It's very important. What else? Sorry, man. I am all discombobulated because of that technical problem. My apologies. But there's also, man, there was other stuff that I wanted to get into too. Now it's just scattershot. Now I'm just like, all right, let's just ammo dump. We're going to just get through everything that I had here. There was a video. Did you see John Doyle, this loser over at the Blaze TV? He put out a video today. The Case for the American Empire, episode 36. He's releasing on the day that we're like going to war with Iran. We're like day 5. There's like 6 dead American soldiers. This is John Doyle's commentary. This is from, you know, the BAP sphere. This is what we're talking about.
We will also discuss in response to a lot of what the Trump administration is doing in terms of a national project, a global project, even projecting strength of the American empire. A lot of people are seeing that and quite understandably wondering how that squares with what they believe to be the impetus behind Trump's political project being something that was meant to put America first and not get involved in all of these other projects across the globe. And I am here to provide a little bit of context to that, not only with what Trump has been saying for literally decades since he's been involved in politics, since he took up that hobby, but also within the history of America as a country, as an empire, really, and how, given that the patriot, which is to say you, me, white American Christian, given that we are literally the most hated people on the planet, we actually do kind of need to project a little bit of strength so as to protect ourselves, because I guarantee you that insofar as the American...
Okay, I can't take any more of him. But did you catch what he said? Did you catch what he said? He said that Donald Trump took up politics as a hobby. This is not a hobby. This is a knife fight to the death. This is gang warfare. This is not a hobby. I'm not doing this because it's a hobby. You know, I'm doing a podcast because in 2016, I was given a radio show. And then I was protested by Antifa. They threatened to blow up the radio station. I had to give my resignation in a bulletproof vest. I didn't get involved in politics as a hobby. I got involved in politics because we are in an existential crisis in this nation. And this is the kind of rhetoric that these idiots at The Blaze are running with. The Blaze, all intimately coordinated between BAP, Barry Weiss, all of these Zionist, neocon, Jewish groups. And they're coming at it like it's a hobby. Now, again, just to reiterate this,
American Empire Week.
this theme that I've been going with all night, this podcast is a form of entertainment. Every podcast that you watch is a form of entertainment. It's entertainment. It also intersects with policy. It does intersect with changing people's hearts and minds to, like, I don't know, not want to go to war, to not put Israel first, right? That's important. But at the end of the day, this is all, unless you're going out and doing something in the real world and making a change in your local community, this is all just fucking entertainment. It's a hobby for these people. Incredibly fucked up. Incredibly fucked up. Anyway, there was something else I wanted to get to. There was something else I wanted to talk about tonight. And that was this video that came out. There was a hit piece put out on me a couple of days ago. We've talked about it on the show a couple of times. There was this article from the disgraced former Southern Poverty Law Center journalist, Michael Edison Hayden. Should I bring him on the show? Maybe we'll bring him on the show for an interview. I think that'd be fun. I do have a couple of hours of our conversation that I recorded that I might release on our Patreon or our Substack. So please make sure you are, you know, if you like this program, if you want some insider content, go to our Patreon, our Subscribe Star, get signed up, you know, $10 a month or whatever it is. And we'll start putting out some exclusive content for you guys. We also just created a member video only, whatever, on YouTube, I think. I don't really know how it works yet. But I guess we'll be able to host members-only live streams, members-only videos. And I'll be able to get into, because I can't talk about everything that's going on this podcast, right? You know, never show your enemy your hand. But anyway, the point being that maybe I will release this audio from this meeting with Michael Edison Hayden. But anyway, he went on the Majority Report, and I figured I'd play a few minutes of this. I thought it was funny watching him make the rounds. Let's just take a quick look at this, and then we'll read some of your super chats. Get your last minute super chats in the backlash.net/super chat. You can also send Rumble rants or YouTube, just like a traditional super chat over on YouTube. We'll read all of those. I'd love to hear from you guys, hear your concerns, where you're at, what you're thinking. But yeah, let's take a look at this real quick. This video is crazy.
You also talked with this guy Dave Riley here, who his ideology, it seems like it's pretty aligned with this kind of emerging element on the far right. Fuentes associated, bit of a Catholic supremacist as well, and
so he says.
Yeah, and deeply anti-Semitic as well.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Yeah.
Talk about.
Oh, that's the main thing. That's the main thing. Oh, the real problem is that he's an anti-Semite, and it's like, okay, you know, I've got a lot of friends that are Presbyterian. I've got a couple friends that are Lutheran. They're okay. But like, we believe that the Pope is the supreme pontiff. Yeah, I'm a papal supremacist, nigga. Like, come on. I'm a papal supremacist. Like, I believe Christianity is the best. Hello, it's the only true religion. So yeah, Anyway, we'll keep going on this.
His ideology and what your conversation was like with him, who's, obviously at Idaho, Idaho based.
Look at this guy's face. He's like, hold on.
Yeah, Riley is okay. Well, just some quick background on Riley. He's one of the people who came from out of state to kind of be like, this is a place I can kind of move in and do things.
Just FYI, you can do things anywhere. You don't have to move to Idaho. You can just do things. And I could have just done things, and I was doing things in South Bend, Indiana, in Pennsylvania. I've done things everywhere I've ever lived. I didn't move here to North Idaho to do things. I moved here because I wanted my kids to go to good Catholic schools. And we have some of the best Catholic schools in the country in North Idaho, by the way. So wrong on that, but let's continue.
And he defines himself as a Catholic, for sure. His original brand was around white nationalism. That's kind of the way he would have, I don't know if he would have said that as much, but he was in discords and stuff like that, where they were kind of planning the original Unite the Right rally back in the day. And he sort of reinvented himself as a sort of Catholic nationalist, of the way he describes himself. But he's really centered on the conspiracies around Jewish people. And when
wait. The conspiracies around Jewish people, like, I don't know, they're trying to get us to go to war in Iran. Conspiracies around the Jewish people, like, I don't know, they control the media. Like what's happening at Paramount Plus with Barry Weiss and CBS and the Free Press. Conspiracy theories like, I don't know, the Jews run the banking industry. Okay. Like, dude, what planet do you live on? And, it was so funny. It's one of the things that I'm going to need to post. Because, like, in this conversation when we met together at the Coeur d'Alene Resort, the very first question I asked him was, Michael, can you define fascism? And like 2 hours later, he couldn't define it. He couldn't even define it. Meanwhile, he's being brought in to do this hit piece by people like Krista Hazel, Russell Mann, Matt Richard Blatt, that are all affiliated and associated in one way or another with the Hagedorn Corporation, with the local resort, with the local downtown association, the Chamber of Commerce. It's corporate fascism. Like, anyway, I got to release that audio.
I met him in this bar, outdoor bar called Whispers, which
not a gay bar, by the way.
It's like they're playing like Hearts power ballads out in the lobby, and like it was out on a beautiful deck in this resort in Coeur d'Alene, and he's wearing like a huge crucifix around his neck. Like if it were diamond, you'd think he was you'd think he was like Playboy Cardi or something. He was he's like, everything goes back to Jews, and he is under the belief, this is a place with very few Jews. And he feels like he can really make inroads around that. And on the other side of this is a conflict with a far-right Christian Zionist movement in North Idaho. And I think it's impossible to talk about Riley and his activism without talking about them. Because
tell me more.
There's a church called Candlelight Church. I was, when I went there, they told me they told us to essentially not pray to Samuel Alito, but they put up a big picture of him. There's like a big picture of Samuel Alito. It's in the story. You got to like squint, but there's like, it goes by really quickly. I blew it up bigger.
Vergonia.
So they put a picture of Samuel Alito, and they're like, they want to pray for him, and they're like, we forgive him for being Catholic or whatever, but like, we
nice
hope that this man can, do the right thing in his heart or whatever. Bro. And they have a huge Israel flag on the side of the stage. I mean, like monster sized. It's not like, oh, we support Israel with like a little thing. It's just like huge flag. And, you know, locally, Riley has been at war with the pastor there, this guy named Paul Van Noy. And it is this conflict between sort of philo-Semitic, far-right, philo-Semitic far-right church and like a kind of anti-Semitic activism in which everything is centered around the, you know, the problems in your life that you're having right now. The Jews are responsible for that.
That's true.
You know?
It's
and
true.
it's for me, it's so tiresome and awful.
That's not. Listen,
I've heard so much of it, and
that's
and
not.
very few Jews in the area.
Not an argument. That's not an argument. It is not an argument that it's just so tiresome. It's not an argument. It doesn't address the concerns that have been laid out for decades, all the way back to, we've talked about it on this show before, the National Chronicle, 1972. This has been going on for 50 years. A long, long time. I'm just tired of hearing about it. And it's just wait for it. Wait for it. It gets better.
And if you were Jewish, I would want to leave. Like I would not want to be there.
Yeah.
Because
True.
it's like, and it's sad. That's sad. We should not have places in the country where you want to do this. Also, the other thing, he's wearing a keffiyeh. He's like, he's really involved himself in like, Palestine stuff. And he tried to relate to me on that because on my mother's side, we do have Palestinians. And, it is the clearest example I can think of. Actually, where people have taken the conflict that emerged after October 7th and the genocide in Gaza and exploited it really for their own ends, because this activism does not help the cause.
No, it hurts. It's just it almost is. It would be
turd in the punch bowl is what Alex Jones calls.
Yeah, it would if like the deep state was trying to discredit the pro-Palestine movement, they would elevate guys like this, Nazis wearing keffiyehs. It's really disgusting.
So hey, wait, hold on a second. Time out. Hey, if anybody in the deep state is watching this right now, please elevate me. Right now. Do it. Do it. Give me a bigger platform, okay? Exploiting the genocide in Gaza for my own ends? What are you talking about? Like, I literally gave a speech up here in North Idaho in 2021 warning that we are going to be treated, white people in this country are going to be treated the way that Palestinians in Gaza are treated. I have it on video. It's on my Odyssey channel. That's literally what I said in 2021, before the genocide in Gaza. The idea that I'm exploiting this is ludicrous. We're never going to have a free America until there's a free Palestine. Doesn't mean that we're going to lock arms with these freak communists. We can't. We're opposed to one another, and you'll hear in a second where the sticking point is. But it's just unbelievable. The idea that, he's exploiting the genocide in Gaza. And if you've been watching this program and you've seen the conflict between me and Pastor Paul Van Noy, you've seen the phone calls that we've released. I've got them on my Twitter. You can go look them up. Where Paul Van Noy is saying that we're going to bomb the shit out of you if you don't give us back our hostages. We're going to kill your children if you don't comply with what we want. I'm not exploiting that. It's true. It's what's happening. Anyway, let's continue.
Yeah, and I don't see anybody, around him on his side advocating that North Idaho become a place where we take in a bunch of Arab refugees. I don't see that. Right? It's like we'll let everybody die there so we can blame Israel for this, and we can continue to punish the Jews at home. I don't see anybody be like, oh, well, how do we help them? How can I?
Bro. What the fuck is he saying? Pardon me. What's he saying? Let's just let them kill all the Palestinians so that we can blame Israel for this. Who's killing them, dude? Are you serious? I'm not killing these people. I don't want genocide in Gaza. I don't want 2,000-pound bombs going off to Israel to kill women and children. I don't want people to die so we can blame it on Israel. Israel's doing it. This is what's happening. Israel dragged us into a war. Marco Rubio said it. All the intelligence is there. We talked about this. So anyway, but you see the sticking point. The sticking point is that these filthy, dirty communists like Michael Edison Hayden, they want to flood this country with brown people, with Palestinians, with Arabs, with people from the global south, with Africans. They hate white people. They don't want white people to have a country. That's the point. And it's Jews behind that too. Guy, your old boss, Mark Potok, Mike, you remember him? Used to have a sticky note in his office counting down to when America would be majority non-white. That's what the Southern Poverty Law Center does. And people like Michael Edison Hayden had no problem working for him. They have no problem genociding white people in America. And then they'll claim that they have a problem with genocide in Palestine and say that I'm exploiting it. It's crazy. Unbelievable. So it's from all sides. We're at war with everybody. Screw everybody. We're in this together. Me, you, your family, my family, church, right? This is how we stick together. Unbelievable. So anyway, you can go watch I'm not going to bore you with the rest of it. That was the main part is like, you know, the real reason why we got a problem with Riley, it's not because he's like sticking up for the Palestinians or any of that. It's because he doesn't want non-white immigration into the state of Idaho. Okay, so if I believe everything that I believe, but then I was also like pro-refugee, these people would not have a problem. And it's just interesting. It's just interesting. It's funny. The obsession with me. You know, people can't stop talking about me locally, online. I have stalkers. It's crazy. It's crazy. But, you know, so he was talking about Paul Van Noy, and I just thought it would be funny to play this clip. This will be one of the last clips that we play. This was from the Sunday morning service this past Sunday, and geez, are you like also getting just nonstop updates from Bellum Acta and like Rerum Novarum? I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, somebody important's texting me, and it's like, no, it's just another press release from like, you know, the Red Cross or something. Anyway, so this was from last Sunday, like 2-3 days ago, at Candlelight Christian Church. Like, let's just watch this for a minute. Just once again to reassert that, like, I'm telling the truth. And 95 or more % of the rest of the people out there are gaslighting you. Whether it's your pastor at church, whether it's your podcaster that's neck deep in the military-industrial complex, right? Everybody is lying and gaslighting you for one reason or another, right? I'm just like, I'm here because I was attacked by Antifa in 2017, and I'm like not fucking going anywhere. Anyway, here's the Sunday service from Candlelight.
And so I'm just super thankful. Ami Weiss, this is Israel. Shall I take it?
He's literally getting the call from Israel while he's on stage.
Ami, you are in church with me on the speakerphone.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
How are you doing? No, tell me what's happening.
Well, they just announced that the airport will be open Wednesday or after Wednesday.
Fantastic. Praise the Lord. Thank you for letting me know, my friend.
Okay.
Shalom, shalom.
Bro.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a nice Sunday.
Thank you. Bye.
Like, leave it to a Jew to be like completely oblivious to the fact that like Sunday is our holy day. You know, like people might be at church, doesn't give a shit. You just starts calling, or this was orchestrated and planned. Like, hey, please call it exactly this time. Anyway, let's, dude, just wait till you see what he says. It's unbelievable.
Makes me weep. This is a gentleman that we have built a relationship with in Israel for many years. He is our guide. He's Jewish, and he's, oh man, I don't know how old he is. He's got to be 75 by now. And he still goes like you can't believe. His strength is really unprecedented. And he's excited about us coming. I know there's a lot of you wondering about whether or not we will still be going to Israel. The plan is, Drew, I know you're going. I don't know if there's others in the room here, but if the airport is open, we are going.
Bro.
And so the plan is to go, and we'll be leaving, the group will be leaving on Wednesday next week, so a week from this coming Wednesday. And so we know the need is great. It is great, and we want to serve the people. We don't go there just to tour. We do learn our Bibles there, and it is an amazing opportunity, but we are connecting to people. And in shops and in the streets and wherever we are, and they are in need of comfort. They are in need of ministry. And the Lord provides us so many opportunities, especially in these times. When we were there before during the war, it was unbelievable, the hunger. And watching people read their Bibles every day and talking to them about what they're reading and helping them see.
Bro, they're reading the Talmud, okay? Paul, they're reading the Talmud. They're not reading the Bible. What are you talking about? They're not thirsty for Jesus. They're not converting to Christianity. They're going out to kill Amalek. They're going out to kill their enemies. They're not like repenting. They're not like, oh my God, we made a mistake. We should like stop bombing churches in Gaza. They're not saying that, man. What are you talking about? And by the way, the offer still stands. Paul, anytime you want to come on the show and have a debate, got an open chair right here. Come on. Let's talk. He won't. It's fine. But anyway, what kind of church like flies their congregation into an active war zone? That's weird, isn't it? Isn't that like kind of weird that they would be doing that? And I have this picture. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it up. Here's what I'll do. I know I can, if I text it to my wife, I can pull it up. So hold on a second. Let me get the photograph. Here it is. Text. Wife. Hear the kids upstairs? It's great. Okay, here we go. Here's the picture. Look at this. This is what he's talking about. Oh, we go to Israel and we minister to the people and blah blah blah. This is what he's talking about. He's going to Israel to meet with the IDF. That's what he's doing. It's incredible. They're not allowed to preach the gospel over there. They're not allowed to tell Israeli soldiers that they need Jesus, that they need to be baptized. He can't say that. He's out here telling them to kill Amalek. So with that in mind, let's listen to the last little bit of this.
Understand the scriptures. And so thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. The skirmish, if you will call it such, it's more than a skirmish right now, is all part of the biblical scenario. We do know that Iran is not going to go anywhere, neither is Israel. So there are things yet to come. The present distress in Iran right now, of course, with the administration being taken over, hopefully by those that have better sensibilities and want to serve the people in a way that we would love to see, and give more freedom to the Christians in Iran. And I digress. I was mentioning the church service where they were worshiping the Lord. They had Iranian flag wrapped around them, and they were in their services just singing praises to God. This is what we want. But we also know that in biblical prophecy, Iran will still be a major player. They will join forces with Russia and other surrounding countries, and they will attack Israel again. But this will be, no doubt, something down into the future. The next critical moment that we will be seeing for world prophecy, it would be the rapture of the church. I know there are many that don't believe in the rapture. They're wrong, and we will explain it to them on the way up, and we're excited to tell them about it. But then
think about that, and this just plugs into what we were talking about with Hegseth. It plugs into what we were talking about with what the generals are telling the troops. It's crazy. They think that by provoking this war, by innocent people dying, that somehow they're going to get a ticket one way up. Boom, rapture. You're not going to have to deal with the consequences of your actions. You're not going to have to deal with America losing the empire. You're not going to have to deal with the financial crisis that this will inevitably cause. You're going to be raptured. That's what Jesus wants. This is heretical. It's crazy. And just unbelievable. Unbelievable. So anyway, that's what's been going on. That's what's been happening. We're at war. Let's take a look. This is Drudge Report. Just for the latest, giving a quick once-over. NATO has shot a missile headed towards Turkey. That was something else. Turkey is apparently next on the chopping block, which is a NATO country. If Israel attacks Turkey, then NATO is going to get called up. Unbelievable. Anyway, get your last-minute super chats in. We're about to read those. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. It is such a pleasure to spend time with you. Need to give a brief shout-out to some of our sponsors before we read some super chats. Number one being Above Time Coffee Roasters. They make the best coffee. It's amazing. It puts a pep in your step. It gets you up in the morning. It tastes great. You don't need, for those of you observing Lent, maybe you gave up sugar, gave up milk in your coffee. Above Time Coffee tastes so good without any additives. You don't need sugar in this coffee. It's hand roasted, small batch, fair trade, non-kosher coffee from AboveTimeCoffee.com. I've been drinking the Nordic Blonde Roast and the Organic New England Light Roast, and they are delightful. I cannot wait to try all of their coffee. And you can get a 10% discount at AboveTimeCoffee.com if you use promo code Backlash10. You'll get 10% off your order. And you know what? You'll also get 10% off your order at AntelopeHillPublishing.com. They're fighting to keep history alive and to equip a new generation of dissidents with the information needed to fight the anti-white regime that we live under today, the anti-Christ regime that we live under. They have a varied catalog of books by Kevin MacDonald, the third edition of The Culture of Critique, right here. Boom. Great book. You need to, it is required reading. If you haven't picked up a copy of this book, you need to do it. Kevin MacDonald's Culture of Critique. It's the essential modern text on Jewish identity. They've also got Dr. Ricardo Duchesne's magnum opus, Greatness and Ruin, the definitive scholarly examination of European exceptionalism, as well as works by Kerry Bolton, Paul Kersey, and Josh Neal. Antelope Hill recently brought David Irving's iconic Nuremberg, The Last Battle back into print and have numerous translations of historical works from eras such as Fascist Italy, National Socialist Germany, and Civil War Spain, all previously unavailable in English. There are also plenty of books on contemporary issues such as transgenderism, the opioid crisis, and Christian nationalism, as well as history books, novels, and children's books. So whatever your interest is, you're bound to find books that you like at Antelope Hill, all professionally published and with sleek, modern cover art. Help us and help our people by checking out companies that share our values and fight for our cause. Visit antelopehillpublishing.com and use promo code Backlash10. I recently placed an order for this one, The Essay Cleans Up by Heinz Lohman. It is their most recent offering. It's a very interesting book, an inside scoop into what was going on with the activism in Germany during the occupation of communists and Bolsheviks that had taken over the country in 1919. Very interesting. Also, the American regime. We did an interview a couple of months ago, I guess now, with Christian Secor. He was a January 6er that got thrown in jail for supporting Donald Trump, for trying to get an America First regime in this country. And he got thrown in jail for his trouble. And he wrote a book about it. It's called The American Regime by Christian Secor. Good book, great book. Buy it at antelopehillpublishing.com. Thank you to all of our sponsors for sticking with us. It's great. Love it. Thank you. And let's take a look at our super chats, which we have several. I don't know why the bar right there, this thing. No. How do I? That right there. It's not updating. I don't know why it's not updating. I can also show you. I have this bar right here. All of my pipes. I'm just kidding. Anyway, today is March 4th. Tomahawk sent $10. Americans are going to have some tough choices to make in the not too distant future. Time to start prepping if you haven't already. Completely agree. You're right. And I remember feeling the same way right before COVID happened. I remember feeling the exact same way. You know, my wife was texting me. She was at the gas station the other day on State Line, and it was full of people from Washington State, gas cans, filling up their trucks, getting extra gas. You know, there is something bad coming our way. It is not time to delay. It's not time to live in la la land. It is time to prepare. It's time to meet your neighbors, find out who your neighbors are, find your friends, clan up, and also get prepped. And you can do that at odggsupply.com. Get all kinds of tactical stuff. We're going to be doing some fun collabs with ODGG Supply very soon. I'm waiting on some forms from the ATF to come back. So I don't know. I don't know if there's been any like white nationalist, Christian nationalist type. I don't know if anybody's ever like done like the crossover into gun tube, you know? But I think we're going to do something like that, you know? I think it could be interesting. It's very important to be able to protect yourself and protect your family. And so our friends at odggsupply.com are going to help us make some good content. So please support them and use promo code Backlash14 if you want to get prepped at odggsupply.com. Oh, that reminds me. This is a letter I need to read to you. I meant to read it last week. We'll get to that in just a second. But first up, IRLCon sent $10 on Rumble. Israel is taking out the United States with this war and crippling Iran's infrastructure simultaneously. We're the biggest loser once again, allying with evil. Yeah. We're going to lose the empire, man. This is going to usher in Pax Judaica. This has been a big talking point. People on the internet have been talking about this. This is where we're headed. We are creating a superpower in the Middle East, Israel, that we will not be able to restrain. We will not be able to exert force on, right? There's been a lot of influencers that are secretly on the payroll of the Likud party that they're coming out and they're saying, oh, well, we don't want any foreign aid. You'll see a lot of pro-Israel people say, hey, we want to end foreign aid. What they really want is an end to the golden handcuffs that they're in. Because when we give Israel money, we dictate what Israel can do with that money. And Israel wants to build up a domestic munitions capabilities. They want to be able to build their own infrastructure so they're not dependent on America, so that when America is like, hey, please stop killing children in Gaza, that Israel can say, hey, screw you, bye-bye. We don't care about you anymore. You're not giving us money anymore. We're going to do what we want. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful with these influencers out here. They're not all good. Let's see here. IRL Constant, another $10. Blonde stated on her new show that she was forced to glaze Fuentes against her will and not allowed to criticize him. How can Blonde and Erica Kirk both be sociopathic liars? The idea that Blonde was forced to be pro Fuentes on this show is a lie. And I guess if that issue would like to be pressed, then we can go there. I don't want to go there. And I wish everybody the best. So, Camille Cooper, K90, sent $9.99 on YouTube. Not sure why I can't send $10, but I try as close as I can. At this point, my family and I are working on how to plant as big of a garden as we can. Man, that's awesome to hear. That is awesome to hear. We're going to be doing a lot of really interesting content coming up, but go touch grass, plant a garden, do something that takes time. We've got some interviews lined up later this week that'll be very good. American Reform. We're going to be doing a show with American Reform coming up on Catholic race theory, on whether or not Christians can support Israel, whether that's a biblical position to take or not. And we're also going to be talking a lot about this concept, this idea of Armageddon, the end of the world. Because on the one hand, as we just saw with that video with Paul Van Noy, you've got these Christian Zionists talking about how, we're on the verge of the end of the world. The rapture is coming. And, what happens when people think like that? They sell their houses. They live in trailers. They don't build companies. They don't build big families. They don't build in their community infrastructure. And they're instead deluded into thinking, well, it's the end of the world anyway, so nothing matters. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to change anything about my life. I'm not going to be holier. I'm not going to build a bigger family. I'm not going to do anything because this is all going to wash away in a little bit. And they're all wrong. Paul Van Noy is wrong. The Christian Zionists are wrong. The rapture is not imminent. It's not coming. It's not going to happen. It's not real. It's fake. It's la la land. It is military propaganda to get people to behave in a particular way. And so this idea of the end of the world, living through the end of the world, it's a big concept, and I think it's worth some discussion, but it's not worth sacrificing building your local community, building your parish, building out the infrastructure that you need to win in 10 or 20 or 30 years. The idea of just sitting up on the mountainside and, that this is all going to be over soon, that's the way that losers think. That's the way, frankly, Randy Weaver thought, and then the FBI came and killed his wife and his son and his dog. So anyway, it'll be interesting. Please look out for that. Also, Jose Nino is going to be coming on the show this coming Monday. What date is that? I think it's the 9th. Just some housekeeping real quick. I know that the show is going to... I was like, I'm going to do a 1-hour show. It's 2 hours and 17 minutes later. Holy shit. But anyway, on the 9th, March 9th, Jose Nino is going to be coming on the show. He's been doing a lot of very good geopolitical analysis. He was all over the Venezuela situation. He's all over the Iran situation. It'll be really good to talk to him, get his perspective on things. We're going to be doing on the 11th, like I said, we're going to be doing a show with American Reform. And that will be pre-recorded. It'll be a premiere on Wednesday, March 11th, because I will be in New York. So if you live in New York City, send me a shout out, send me an email, a text, a DM, whatever. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. I have open DMs on Twitter. But I will be in New York next week. So we'll have a pre-recorded show on Wednesday. Hopefully we'll do maybe some bonus content with Benny and Basil. It'll be fun. It'll be good to talk to the homos in New York and see what they're up to. But anyway, yeah. And then we've got some big stuff coming up, a lot of big interviews, and we'll let you know all about them when they're booked. So thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching the show. I don't think we have any super chats on entropy. Got a $5. I'll take the $5. Hey, listen. I'll take no more $10. I mean, send me $10 super chats, okay? Please send me $10 super chats, but also, like, I'll read all of them, man. Like, if you attach some money to a message, I'll read it. Tomahawk sent $5 and said, Dave, I love you, and Rebecca, I feel like the child of a divorced LOL. Dude, that's how I felt over the past month, going back and forth with, this. I don't want to get into it, but it's felt like going through a divorce. It's not okay. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. So I'm sorry that you've all gone through this. But listen, we're building something real here, okay? The priority, at least my priority, is the Pacific Northwest, right? Getting the Idaho, Washington, Oregon, Montana, and Wyoming. These are states that matter. We have natural resources, precious metals, trade routes, and all of these states are also majority white, and we need to protect that, preserve that. We need to fight for that, and we need to build a community in this region to fight for that, to fight for those things. And as this show goes on, we're going to be talking a lot more about that. I've been teasing this idea of rebuilding social fabric. It's so important. People are atomized. They're listening to their podcasts. They're in their cars. They're not interacting with people. You put your headphones in and you just ignore everybody. And that's on a certain level deeply unhealthy. And we need to fight back against that. And I've got some tools for that. We're building some organizations for that, some strategies, and all of that will be shared with you, especially the people that support this show, the people that sign up for our email updates. You'll be getting some exclusive stuff. So please make sure that you do all of that. Like this video, share it, subscribe, blah, 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 all of the above. Also, big shout out to North Idaho Tallow Company. They make soap and skincare products that are not full of endocrine disruptors. They're full of nutrients that your body needs, no harsh chemicals. It smells great. It feels great. They're about to rebrand. Gonna have some wonderful looking products coming out soon, but they've got soap, balm, lip balm, candles too, that all make your skin feel wonderful. It's not gay to talk about soap. But listen, if you've got a family, you got to think about this stuff. Soap is like detergent, okay? It's a chemical. It's a petroleum byproduct. That's what they make soap out of. Like, you go to the store, you get Irish, whatever it is, and Dove and all of this stuff. It's all made out of petroleum byproduct. It's toxic for your body. And the biggest organ in your body is your skin. And you're rubbing it all over as the heat from the shower opens your pores. You've got all of this fucking sludge seeping in to your skin. And it's making you unhealthy, and you don't even know it. So please check out North Idaho Tallow Company. They've got soap and skincare products that are made with all natural ingredients, all natural fragrances with, what is it called? Essential oils, as opposed to engineered fragrances. You will love the way that your skin looks. You'll love the way your skin looks if you go to idahotallow.com. And by the way, all orders over $100 ship for free. It's tremendous. It's wonderful. And just one more shout out to Atlas Bullion, our wonderful gold and silver sponsors. You can get gold and silver to protect yourself against the debasement of the dollar. You know, I was out at the store the other day and I found this. Let me see. Where is the button? Can I get this to focus? Look at this. See that? I brought like a thing of dimes to the store, and this dime was a silver dime. And I found it, and I put it on the counter, and it made a different sound than all of the other dimes. And that's what tipped me off. And I was like, hey, wait a minute. So let me just check real quick. How much is silver worth? Silver is $85.68 an ounce. At $85.68 an ounce, how much is a 1964 dime worth? Let's see what ChatGPT comes back with. Wrong one. There we go. A typical circulated 1964 silver dime is worth about $6.20. Look at this. How do I? Come on, you. There we go. Look at that. So anyway, that is worth $6.20 a dime. That's incredible, isn't it? And so anyway, the point is, like, you know, you want to talk about like inflation or how messed up the currency is, and, you know, you don't blame Jews for that because that's a conspiracy theory. But anyway, you can get stuff like this over at Atlas Bullion. I highly recommend getting at least like $200 face value of pre-1964 gold and silver. That does it. Don't freak out. Okay, don't get upset. Don't let your cortisol spike. We've known that this war with Iran has been coming for 20 years or longer. Now it's time to let it play out and to do what we can at the local level to prevent this from ever happening again. Not one more American should die in a war for Israel. And it's up to us to organize. It is up to us to prevent these horrible AIPAC-controlled senators, representatives, congresspeople. We have to fuck their shit up. And if we're emotional and irrational and upset, we are not going to be thinking right about this. So be cool, man. When you start to get upset on the timeline, log off. Log off. And remember that this stuff is entertainment. Podcasts are entertainment. And when you get upset because of a podcast, there's something wrong. Just think about that. I'm trying to be helpful, okay? Maybe I'm preaching a little bit. I don't mean to be preachy. I apologize. Anyway, thank you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.